Today we are going to build this drum sander that I had. I had another one before, and it was too big, too heavy, and I decided to. And I didn't use it for that reason because I have a small shop, and I had to put it outside, and it was a pain in the neck every time I needed to use it. So I decided to use some of the parts, like the drum, the motor, to build a new one. And this one, drum sander, is a copy of the many sanders they had on the internet, but with a twist. But you'll see that in a few minutes. Now, I just got the two mortises that is going to receive the legs. This is the top piece. So I just got the mortises to receive the top legs. Alright? And now we're going to go to the rest of it. Okay, now I'm going to start preparing the legs. These are the legs. I already ripped them. So you know how to rip wood. I don't need to show you that. But I'm going to do something right here that is going to call. I'm going to start preparing the legs for. Let's see if I can put it on this side. Yeah. I put this here so it'll be all even. So at the end it'll be all square. I'm going to cut all four legs at the same time. See, I have the leg cut in half, and that has a reason, and it's coming right up. Now, before I put the legs together, I had to resaw. Now, I'll show you. See, I just resawed this board out here. So this is the regular thickness that I prepared, I milled before, and this is going to be a cross member. Rather than use it as thicker wood or cut this thinner as a tenon, I create here a mortise. Or through mortise, I should say. And then I put these boards this way, and I cover with the other half of the board that I just resaw. What effectively we have is a mortise and a tenon joint, and a through tenon joint, I should say. So that way, when I put the legs and the cross stretchers for the sander. The piece I cut, and it'll fit this way. It's flush out here, and it's flush underneath, but the little piece out here it'll support that 2x4. That way, because this one going to be the top, it's the toughest piece of wood, and will support all the weight of the drum and the tension of the belt and all that stuff. So that's why this little I don't know how to say it, tooth is going to be the the one that supports the weight. Of course, this is going to be all glued up, and maybe I pin it, but this one is going to help. Taking some shallow mortises on the glue up piece that I'm going to put on top of the legs to accommodate the cross members. Okay, I just wanted to tell you how this works. I put this mortise that I just cut on the drill with the drill press, and this the half the board is going to be out here now, and this is going to fit on this mortise. Shallow mortise, and then screw from the back side, so it won't move. It'll support the weight, and it'll be located perfectly. So that's the idea of putting these mortises. There's one for this side and one for the other side. That's what I will clamp together, and I cut it both together. Now I have to do the same thing for the other leg. Now we're going to laminate a few of the pieces out here. So we have the upper section that we'll really put together. We have these cross member. We have the bottom leg, the bottom portion of the leg. Now these things all have to be close together because this thing is not glued. So what we're going to do is going to laminate the inside part, the inside piece of the leg. This is what will be the inside piece of the leg. And it had the mortise out here where we'll receive the other cross piece that goes on the white side, on the width. So now I'm going to laminate that. That's the way it comes. These legs come together. Run a little bit of glue out here too, and a little bit of glue out here too. I mean, although it's the end grain, so it doesn't matter. We're just going to put a little bit of there for good luck. That's good enough. Don't put this piece of anywhere that it can be. So now we do this lamination on all four legs. Make sure you get it on the right side because the left side and the right side are mirror image. And that's the other. Now I can remove these quick clamps because they don't offer so much pressure. Those quick clamps doesn't, it's not the same. A piece of cloth, and I just wipe a little bit. It's not that much squeeze out, and just wipe that out. Some people wait till you start curing before you peel it off with a little chisel or something, or a razor blade or whatever. But in this case, I don't care. I know why they do it, because it's harder to get the finish to adhere. But in this case, it don't matter. Okay. Well, now that we already laminated this side, we're going to laminate the back side. The back side is the outside, and only takes whole boards. It doesn't have any mortises or anything. So that's what we're going to do now. That's what I am going to do now. Not paying too much attention. I put that because the lamination, the two pieces that I resawed to glue inside and outside, what do you call it? Too thin to have individual clamps pushing down. And so this way they distribute the pressure. Evenly across the whole board. The whole deal with this is to adapt your work to the materials that you have. You know, that was something I learned to do when you operate with a budget. So I learned to adapt your work that you need to do to the materials that you'll be able to afford or that you have in hand. Okay, we can continue like that throughout the whole construction, and that way we finish this. It takes a little bit more gluing perhaps, but the results are just the same or better than if you would have made it out of completely solid wood. I'm going to put together the connecting sides for the whole carcass. So what we're going to do first, I am going to put these ones inside the mortises. So I put a little bit of glue out here. too much because it's a shallow mortise. And then a little bit of glue on this side. And a little bit here. Okay. Now, putting this out here and that out there. I'm going to close it up with a clamp. Mark the center on here. Make sure I put the screws in the right place. Okay, the carcass is finished. Now this drum, I bought it as a reclaim, because it used to be a machine that dropped it in transit and broke it. It's a jet sander, and it broke it. So I bought the machine for near nothing, and I got some of the parts. Most of the parts were unusable anyways, but the drum was okay, and that's some of the parts I used for this machine. The drum itself. Then, I was lucky that the bearings were 1 inch. The shaft was 1 inch exactly, so I was able to put these pillow blocks at the ends, and I'm going to reuse those. Anyways, this is a reclaimed drum from a broken machine. And I think I got lucky by that purchase, otherwise I would have had to make my own, and it's not easy to get it right. This is perfectly machined, perfectly balanced, and everything else. So I'm going to be mounting. Now to mount these, I'm going to drill the holes in one end and bolted secure. Then I'm going to loosen the set screw on this end and move it in and out till I'm in the center of this 2x4. Well, now what I have to do, I already bolted the other side. I'm going to loosen up this set screw here, which is it doesn't surprise me that it's so tight because it's been there for a while. So like 2 years where it was on the other machine. So thank God it loosened up. I don't remember if it was 2 of them. Yeah, there is 2 of them. Good. And both give. Now I'm gonna have to tap. I'm gonna have to tap this. Yeah, there. This bearing to be on the center of this 2x4, which wasn't that much, was just a little bit. Now, as you know, these bearings are self-aligned bearings, so you can move these around here without moving the bolts on the other side. But I have to make sure that both ends are close together. Let's see, the 8 1/4. Eight 1/4. So now they have both sides, and the drum is perpendicular to the carcass. I'll drill and I bolt the back up. To build the platter for the sander, for the drum sander, I got a piece of plywood, 3/4 plywood, birch, and a piece of 3/4 melamine. I going to piece of 3/4 melamine, you can see, and I am going to laminate the two together. Now I have this strip out here welded, and I'm going to install it on the bench. Now I'm installing this rod and the bushing down below. So this rod is going to be able to push up and down the flat node. In other words, the table where the adjustment on the thickness that I need to sand. So I'm going to drill a hole from the bottom. And then I'm going to install, oops, a screw there. I couldn't find it. I'm going to install a screw, if I can find it, where I just drilled the pile here. I'm going to install the screw for the pilot bushing. So that way I have a paddle bushing, and the rod won't be flapping around on the little backlash on the nut. I mean, that causes the bind sometimes. So this way it will be just evenly done. Now what I have is this handle that came out of the garbage. It's a little cast iron wheel. It used to be on the lathe on the garbage. I bothered because I found pieces on behind a metal shop one day. I was driving around and I saw these pieces of lathe laying around. So I took the opportunity to scavenge the handle. And I figured one day this is going to be useful for something. Alright, now this is just perfect. Now I'm going to bring the bed forward. There we go. You can see that you can lift it. Now this rod is going to be rubbing out here a little bit on the bottom, so I'm going to make a plate, make a couple of holes and put the plate in there so this adjusting rod doesn't wear a hole in the thing. So now to put the hinges in the back, there is one thing. I want this bed to be perfectly flat against the drum. In order to install the hinges in the back to screw them, I need to have these support this table perfectly flat and parallel to the drum. What I had to do is already touching on one side, and the other side's got about a 1/16 of an inch gap. So before I put the screws on this hinge here, I'm going to lift it a little bit. There is no light, but not to press. I don't want to press it up because then everything springs back where it was. So what I'm going to do now, I have it tightened this with this vice grip, the Craig vice grip. It's a long one. So let me crank it up a little bit more, because now there's a gap on the other side and there was no gap. Okay, up and down a couple of times. Now I'm going to lower it back down. We have just a tiny web. It's less than a 16th, I think. Okay, that's it. Now, what I'm going to do, make sure it doesn't slip out here. I'm just going to put a screw, but I want to make sure the screw is in the center. And it's not going to affect if I put it off center and move it up and down, because the taper on the head. So what I'm going to do is to get one of these drill bits that is special for the special drill bit to be centered on the hole before I put the screw. One of these doohickeys. Okay. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is move it up and down and make sure everything is level. to the drum. Now you can see I lifted I put a little bit of gap out there, and you can see it's all the way across about the same when I flash it when I push it with a flashlight. Now I'm closing the gap. Okay. Now I mark with a marker where the screws go when I had the belt tensioned by hand, and then I drilled the holes a little bit further back so it'll be a little bit tighter, and I elongated the hole so in case that I need to in the future tighten the belt some more. The deal is that probably it never need to be tightened on this machine because it doesn't have that much tension anyways, and I'm not going to be using it like hours at a time. You'll probably use it a few minutes here and there. Then I put some extra screws out here to keep it from bowing the 3/4 plywood, which is supposed to be enough to support that motor. And I put a stringed piece of wood downstairs, down below these, and I put 3 or 4 bolts to support it, so that'll keep it from arching too. But anyways, it's just that's overkill probably. So I put the belt. I bring the motor, put the belt on, and I'm gonna drop the bolts. You have to drop it at an angle because it doesn't fit because of the circumference of the motor. Okay. Now all we gotta do is put the washers and the nuts and whatnot underneath and tighten them up and tighten out the belt. Make sure the motor is perpendicular to the belt. Okay, now that that's tight, make sure that the belt is tight. Good. But don't need to do much of anything. Okay, I made this plate, and I made a couple of holes out there and recessed it to accommodate a couple of screws, and that's where the screw for the adjustment up and down is going to hit, so it doesn't make a big hole in the wood. That's the whole idea. Also, in the screw, I rounded out the head, or the top out here, the screw where it hits the plate. I rounded off on the grinder. The idea is that the surface it narrows, so it's very little of the surface will be rubbing against the plate. All right. Now, what I like to do is put a little bit of lithium grease. That's regular grease that you buy in the hardware store. I like this because it comes in a nice handy tube. You can also put them on the sewing machine, and I use it in a few machines around here. Got lithium grease. Now since I round the top out here and it hits a metal plate, and I put a little bit. Let me put a little bit of grease on the plate where it hits. That's going to help a lot. The friction that I get out here. That hitting that metal plate out there helps. Well, I'm building this dust cover for the sander out of Masonite, about a 1/4 inch Masonite. I put some reinforcing in the corners and some glue, and now I'm finishing it with some tiny bracts. That way I don't have to have it all in the press all the time. Okay, now I have to make the templates for the ends. Okay, I just finished building this dust cover for the drum sander. I'm going to remove just a piece of 3/4 plywood. I drilled it, and I stack them out here to be able to hook up with a shotgun. This is just a try, and there I made it out of 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, I should say, 1/8 inch hardboard. So I'm going to install it out there, and I'm going to put it on my drum sander and see. Let's put this covering here. Needs to fit, make sure it won't. Okay. Hopefully it won't rub it anything. Let's put the. Oops, that's a problem. Let's bring it over this side. I'm going to have to do something about that. It's too light for this. Alright. Seems to be okay. Let me. What else can you ask for from a sander? Perfect. Perfect. That's the way a sander is supposed to work. Okay, I have this board out here that I just resaw. If you can see, the resawing marks are prominent out here. So what I'm going to do is run it through the sander and see what results I get. Let me see if I can adjust it. Okay. Now, let me. I didn't wire the switch yet, so I just plugged the motor directly to the outlet. And I turned the vacuum on. perfect. I think I need another pass because the resawing wasn't that smooth. That I moved it a little bit, but you can see here that all the rest of it is very smooth. One more pass and this thing is going to disappear. Pretty good. It works just perfectly the way it's supposed to. We don't have too much of airborne dust, and we have just this tiny bit out here on the table. It's just the way it works. It's just excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm glad, I'm happy, it worked all right. Now, this would take me forever to do it with an orbital sander or a random sander. This kind of finish is an excellent opportunity to sand more of the pieces I put together sometimes. I get a little bit lazy. But how long did it take me to do that? About 20 seconds? This is amazing. Very good, very good. Very happy with it.